Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Rafi Chowdhury here with Influencer Spotlight, and today I'm going to take just a few minutes to talk to you guys a little bit about 3 nifty little hacks that I picked up over the years on how to convince a journalist of a major publication to write about you. So these 3 tactics that I've used over the years have worked extremely well. They still continue to work extremely well, and we at Influencer Spotlight use these tactics on a daily basis to get people to mention and to write about our clients, any stories that we have. So here is the first one. The first concept you have to understand is that journalists and writers, especially community contributors, are busy people, right? They don't really get paid to write these articles. They do it because they want credibility and they want to share their expertise on a big name publication. So if you understand that from their perspective, their point of view, it becomes a lot easier for you to come up with a pitch that's going to resonate with them, that's going to make sense for them. Because if you just go up to the journalist and say, hey, I know you're looking to write stories and you should write about me, that gives them no reason whatsoever, no incentive whatsoever as to why they should write about you. What's in it for them? Journalists, their job isn't just to go and find people that are doing something and just write about them and not, what do they get out of it? So if you want them to write about you, and you really want them to pick your story over somebody else's, you want to make sure that your story is absolutely amazing and that you do as much of the work as you can for them. So hack number 1, do the work for them. If you want them to write about you, if you want them to mention your brand, do it for them. Don't make them do anything. Do it for them and hand it over to on a silver platter and say, hey, all you gotta do is just send this in. So what we do is when we approach a journalist, we basically email them out initially and just talk about, it's called Rapport Building. So we basically say, hey, I love what you're doing on column, your column, blah, 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 etc. I know that you're doing some amazing work there, and I want to be able to, I want to let you know that I'm a very loyal reader of yours, and I love reading your work. That's it. I just fire off that email, and that's it. I do the same thing on Twitter and LinkedIn. No matter what, I make sure that they got my message. So if I don't hear back an email, I use a follow-up sequence. So for that, I use a tool called Mailshake. And with Mailshake, I'm able to do follow-up sequences as well. So if they got my email and they don't open my email, I send a follow-up sequence and I say, hey, I sent you such and such email, did you get it? If they open and they read it and they don't reply, then I have a different sequence built up and said, hey, I noticed you opened my email, but you haven't responded. Did you forget to respond? So I basically have conditional email sequencing based on whether they responded or whether they opened my email or what. But the main thing here is that you can do the work for them. And what that means is basically once you send a couple of emails and you build rapport with them over email, you're going to say, I noticed that you haven't written in such and such time period, or that I know that you have a busy schedule and you need to be writing more, blah, blah, I know you want to share expertise. I was wondering if it would be possible for you if I wrote an article for you that would be exactly similar to the topics that you write about and your writing style, and I wrote that for you and gave it to you. And if you like it, you can publish it. If you don't like it, no pressure at all. You can just ignore it. And then also say that, do you have any particular suggestions in mind? Here are a few ideas that I came up with, and give them a few topics. Remember, it's like asking anybody for a favor. Most people will do favors for you if it doesn't involve them any money or any time to do it, right? If it doesn't cost them money or time, they're gonna usually say yes. So it's the same thing with these journalists, that if you can somehow make it to where it doesn't cost them anything and it doesn't cost us any time by doing all of the work for them, they're very likely to say yes. So write the article for them, ask them what they want written. And if you reach out to enough journalists, the key here is volume. If you reach out to enough journalists, you're very likely to get a few yeses in there. And you can use this software called Mailshake to collect information which you can pull from LinkedIn. And you can send a whole bunch of emails to a whole bunch of journalists from different publications and see which ones reply to you, which ones show any interest. Be very, very careful with the email that you send out. And based on who responds to you, you can build these kind of relationships. And eventually, what you can do is you can get them to write about you. If you follow the simple method of building a relationship with them, getting on a phone call with them. So I'm going to add phone call. It could be like a Skype call. It could be anything. Just build a personal relationship with them, get to know them better, and then make a win-win pitch. So what are they looking for? They're looking for content that shows their expertise in a domain. What are you looking for? You're looking to mention yourself in their article, right? You want to get mentioned in big name publications. So what you can do is basically make that win-win where you say, I write the article for you. It's going to be a long topic of what you write about. It's going to show your expertise. I'm going to do all the work for you. All you have to do is just publish and send it in. If you like it, if you don't like it, don't send it in, and I'll give you a different one and give me some topics to write about and suggest some as well. So that's the first hack that we use, and we've used it very successfully to get not only just my brand and mentioned in Influencer Spotlight, mentioned it all around the web, but also I've used this for numerous clients of ours as well and gotten them into some major publications. So that's the first hack. I'm going to erase all this because I don't have that much room. The second one is going to be one of the most unique ones that we've recently discovered and started using. It's a really good one. So, how do I word this? Find experts and ghost. Right. Their first article. Okay, so this is a really cool one. So another thing you can do is you can find people that are experts at something, people that are very, very well known, right? And all experts want to share their expertise on big publications. That's just the reality. Nobody's going to say, no, I don't want to share my expertise on Forbes magazine. Everybody wants to do it. It's just like losing weight or getting fit. Everybody wants to do it. Everybody knows how to do it, but most people don't do it, right? That's why we have so many unhealthy people. So if you find experts and you make them a win-win pitch and say, hey, I noticed that you're an expert on Facebook ads, or I noticed that you're an expert on cars, but I noticed that you're not really writing much about cars on publication X. You have never written there. I have an amazing way that you can become a writer there by sharing expertise. And you know what? I know that you're a busy guy and you have a lot of things going on. I'm going to do all of the work for you. Okay? So here's how you're going to pitch them. You're going to reach out to this expert and convince someone that on the idea that he needs to be writing for, let's just say, Forbes magazine. And what you're going to say to them is that you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is we're going to give you a pitch. All you have to do is send this into the publication, and if you get accepted into the publication, then you submit this article for us. So by doing this, you're basically writing your own stories in an educational fit. So you have to make sure, obviously, for this, that you know how to craft your pitch properly, that you write a proper article. You're going to have to pick people that are actually truly industry experts that are going to have a high chance of getting into that publication. And you're going to make a win-win pitch to them and say, hey, I'm going to do all the work for you. I'm going to ghostwrite this thing for you. And all you got to do is basically send it in. And that way you can get them a contributor account on a major publication while getting your company mentioned within that article. Okay? Now, you might be wondering, so how do I know how to get into Forbes and Inc. and Entrepreneur? Well, if you have been following me and if you know anything about me at all, you know that I run an academy, an accelerator program, where I teach people how to become a contributor on major publications like Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, Huffington Post, and these kind of places. It's a 6-week course, and we guarantee that within 45 days you will become a contributor to at least one major publication, or else you get a full refund. So you need to take that course, 0 to famous, I'm just going to shorthand, fame in a year accelerator. Okay, and if I'm gonna put a link to this in the description of the video, so you can go ahead and look to see what that is. But if you take that course, I will teach you exactly how you can get anybody, including yourself, into any publication as a writer. Pretty much, it's the same concepts that work over and over and over again, and you can try that. And I'm actually gonna send a link to a yeah, I'm gonna send you a link directly to that page, and you can kind of watch my webinar and things like that, and you can figure out from there if how that works. And so this will be in the YouTube description, and I'll also email this to you guys. So that's another method that we started applying like for the last 6 months or so, and it has gotten some amazing results, and we were able to get several of these experts into major publications, and then we're able to leverage them to get numerous clients into some of these major big name publications. So that's the second hack that has worked really well for us. Number 3 is going to be quite obvious, but you wouldn't believe how many people miss this one. One of the easiest ways that you can get your brand and company mentioned in one of these big publications, and tons of big publications, is for you to become a contributor yourself. People miss this obvious one. They pay hundreds and thousands of dollars to like get into a publication and get mentioned, when they don't realize that it's literally as simple as hiring a copywriter or a blogger, right? Getting coached by someone like myself that teaches you, that has an expertise in particular on how to get into big name publications, writing up a detailed article, educational piece that actually fits the guidelines of the publication, using the ghostwriter or the copywriter that you hire, which can be done as cheaply as maybe like a couple $100, sending that pitch in and making yourself a contributor on a major publication.